Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, my today's talk, Alhamdulillah, we had great speeches from all of our students, and especially I am impressed with the anchoring of our junior, Mr. Sabir, and the speeches of all of you, speeches from Afin and Arbi, so from Nur Fatima ma'am, Alhamdulillah. So, I wanted to talk about education, al-ilm. So, this is something which is of utmost importance in Islam. Even Shabir sir was also saying in his speeches. So, about education or the knowledge or the ilm, we cannot complete the speech of it in 2-3 minutes. But let me just quote some of the hadith or ayah from Quran. So, in hadith, one what is always mentioned is Talabul ilmu farilatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslimatin. Talabul ilmus, we say talibe ilm, student. So, learning or studying or seeking the knowledge, it is made compulsory. Okay, for a moment, there is no option. Compulsorily, he has to learn, and when he has to learn, it is from the cradle to grave. We say, "Maa ke gol se kabar ke gol tak." Continuously, we have to keep learning, right? So we don't have to make it like the education is compulsory from the government or RTE, right to education. That is all later. First, in the perspective of Islam, from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and His Rasul, for every mu'min and mu'minat, it is like the compulsory. And the Quran itself, the first verse of Quran, the first word of Quran itself started with Iqra. So our Islam religion gives a lot of importance for the education. So this is something we should always keep in mind. Our first focus should be education more than our business, more than our other work or the focus on the celebration and all. Education should be first priority. But unfortunately, what is happening now is like we see the marriages and programs like which are happening in those in the halls. So generally, what we see is our community spends so much of time, so much of energy, so much of importance to the celebrations, right? So that is one reason our community is backward. Actually, during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their focus was on the education. And do you know, if I ask you which is the first city in the world, first modern developed city in the world, generally we may think like it could be Paris or London, okay? Because even before America, we had this England and France. But actually, it is Baghdad and Cordoba in the 11th century, in the year 1100. In Baghdad we had the street light across the city. We had the running water, this pipeline. We had the drainage system. All these things, it was there in Baghdad in 11th century. It was almost like 600 years even before this London and Paris kind of cities have started. So that was a time when we had not differentiated as religious education and other education. We asked the dua like, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana. So always we ask for goodness in this world and in the next world. And whatever ilm, we say like ilmun nafiya. Ilmun nafiya does not mean like only Quran and Hadith. What is ilmun nafiya? The ilm which is useful. Okay, so the great story of Baghdad, or what we call it as golden era in the history of Islam. Okay, actually in the European history and all, they call it was a black history or black years. It is not like that. It was a golden era where we had lot of improvement in the technology, in the political way, in the way of knowledge, in the perspective of Islam. So when we had such a great education or the knowledge among our tabi'in or the Islamic scholars, then why we came behind? That is also a point to be noted. So when we had all those development and growth, actually Ibn Battuta, the historian, when he says about this Islamic history of Baghdad and Cordoba. The year where we had the Abbasid Sultanate, the Emperor of Abbasid Caliphs, where we had Baghdad and so much of knowledge, so much of invention. They were even doing like the modern day surgery kind of techniques they had. But how it fell down? On a particular year, there was not a single person going for Hajj, going from Baghdad to Makkah. On a particular year, not a single person was going for Hajj. So they started neglecting Hajj and the namaz and fasting, all those things. So that was a time when that empire, it fell down. The Muslims started going back, all those city, the development, whatever they had, they lost the help of Allah. Then it was like they got these kuffars, the disbelievers, they got the technologies, they started investing on this education, learning. Then we had this modern cities like London, Paris, then we have the establishment of America, okay. So now most of this technology, education, everything are with the Christians and Jews. Why? They have put a lot of efforts, even in India. The communities like Jain, they are just 2% of the population, but all top positions and all owned by the Jains. They are the richest. So the time to realize is that Alhamdulillah nowadays there is some change. So we have to give lot of importance to the education. Towards all-round development of our students. Okay, like our Shabir Saab, see, he has put all his students and family members bringing for this communication skill development or for this personality. So likewise, we have to give more importance to the education, even if we are not able to eat 3 times a day. Still, we have to spend on education. We have to give more importance to education. So with these views of mine, so thank you for listening to me. With more such speeches, we'll be back. Please share and subscribe. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.